Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday, which means it is the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. We're going to be talking about all of the latest transfer rumours from the last week or so, and we'll be ranking them from whether we believe they're absolute complete rubbish to whether we believe we should make the transfer happen. Of course, as per usual, we sit down, we talk about all of the latest rumours. A big thanks for all of the support on Friday's live stream. Really do appreciate that. I'm sure you've all heard the news, the latest government news about football not returning until at least after the 1st of June. I wanted to make today's live stream purely talking about transfers because we have had a couple of transfer rumours, one surrounding Moise Kean. Again, we seem to be speaking about Moise Kean an awful lot. Now, whether that's because the rumours are being generated because people are talking about them, or whether there's genuine sort of, movement in the rumours and in the possibility of Moise Kean leaving Everton Football Club, I don't know. But we'll be talking about Moise Kean again, and breaking news coming from journalist Nico Shearer, who has been quite reliable before in the past. He's on Twitter, I'm sure you'll know him if you keep up to date with transfers. We're also going to be talking about Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot and his potential move to Everton, or the link potentially moving to him. And we're also going to talk about the current Everton midfielder, and that is Morgan Schneiderlin, and a little bit of news that was released very recently, actually in the last hour or so, talking about the amount of money Everton could potentially sell him for. And I'm going to give what I'd say is a pretty controversial opinion on why I wouldn't sell Morgan Schneiderlin for the amount of money that is being quoted, which I'm sure you can see in the title is just £5 million. But anyway, like I said, I'm sure you've all heard the news about football not returning until at least the 1st of June. I didn't want to talk too much about it on the live stream because this is solely for transfers, so I have uploaded a little 8-minute video. It's literally just me sitting on my couch over there. You can see the signed shirt briefly. I said on that video, if anybody can guess who has signed that Everton shirt behind me, leave it in the comment section down below. If you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I'm sure you'll know. But I've done a little video sitting down, basically talking about it and giving my opinions on it, because I didn't really want to talk too much about it on today's live stream. So after today's live stream, if you haven't watched that video, go over and check it out. It's only about 8 minutes long, and it's just basically me giving an update on that. But anyway, we are here to talk about transfers. It's the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. We've done it for about 4 or 5 or 6 weeks now. The time has absolutely flown. The week seems to be going fairly fast, I think, at the moment, certainly in regards to the live streams. But we're here to talk about transfers, of course, and the first one we're going to talk about is another rumour linking Moise Kean with a move away from Everton Football Club. This is coming from Nico Shearer, like we said, who was quite a, I'd say he's a little bit of a reliable source. He's reliable enough. He's got a lot of transfers right in the past, certainly over the last sort of 18 months or so, not just regarding Everton Football Club, but also regarding a lot of other football clubs. But there have been a couple of things that he has got wrong. Before we go into that, Wayne says, was there a problem? Was there a sound problem with your last video? It might just be my computer. First time I've seen you without glasses. And Wayne says it was quiet. It was. I apologise for that. Basically, I had the microphone turned down accidentally, so I do apologise, and I wasn't able to alter the sound. So if you blast your computer or your phone up to high volume, then hopefully you might be able to hear me, or if you stick a pair of headphones in, then you might be able to hear me. But I do know what's wrong, and I will get that sorted for the next time we sit down and film. It was simply just a case of my microphone was turned down, so that's why the volume seemed a little bit quiet, so I apologise for that one. Hopefully it's still audible, and hopefully you can still hear it and understand it. But anyway, on to the first transfer rumour of the day, and that is linking Moise Kean with a move to Roma. Again, we've seen these rumours linking Moise Kean away from Everton Football Club for a few weeks now. This one coming from Nico Shearer, and he says that Mino Raiola is in talks with Roma over Moise Kean as the striker looks for a potential move back to Serie A in preparation for Euro 2021, or Euro 2020, we know it'll be called, but it'll be next year. Now, this again is the type of transfer rumour that I've seen come up a couple of times now. We've seen Mino Raiola's name be involved when talking about Moise Kean and a potential move away from the club for Moise Kean a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. Originally and initially, and before all of the stuff come out about Moise Kean breaking the lockdown regulations and stuff, a lot of the rumours were just sort of Moise Kean being linked with moves away from Everton because he hasn't had the greatest start in his Everton career, or because he hasn't quite settled like we'd like him to. But now we're starting to see Mino Raiola's name be involved a lot more, and this is where I think it becomes a lot more serious, because Mino Raiola is an agent that is known for trying to force transfers for his clients if they are not happy at their current club, or if he is not happy with how the current club is treating them. He's known to sit down with his clients, get in their ears, and it's pretty known that if Mino Raiola wants his client to leave a football club, then it's almost certain that that client is going to leave the football club. At the end of the day, he's an agent, and he gets a lot of his money from agent fees, and you get agent fees from players moving from club to club, and it appears like he is trying to do something similar with Moise Kean and trying to force him out of Everton. Now, again, Roma are a team that have been linked multiple times over the last sort of week or so, certainly over the last sort of month or so with Moise Kean. There was a transfer rumour, I believe, that come from the Football Insider at some point last week, stating that Everton could potentially allow Roma to take Moise Kean on a 2-year loan, and in exchange we would receive Justin Kluivert from Roma for 2 years. Justin Kluivert, a very, very good young player. The only problem with that is I do worry that if we were to bring somebody as young and with as much potential as a Justin Kluivert in on a 2-year loan, we would ultimately have the intention to build some form of team around Kluivert and to make some form of change to in order to accompany him, or in order to make sure that he fits into the team correctly. And if you're doing that for a player that you've only got for a short period of time, it's almost a ticking time bomb, isn't it? It's going to get to a point where he then leaves, and then your whole structure of your squad sort of falls to bits a little bit, as well as the fact that the player is coming into the club knowing that he's only there for a 2-year spell, and whatever happens, he will ultimately return to his parent club at some point in the future. So I'm not too sure how I feel about that exchange between Roma and Everton for Moise Kean going to Roma and Kluivert coming to Everton. I do like Justin Kluivert. I think he's a fantastic player, but if we were to bring him in, I would like to bring him in on a permanent deal if to do so. But just solely judging this transfer, I'm going to go ahead and put this in possibly straight away, because like I said, my ears do perk up a little bit whenever I hear Mino Raiola's agents getting linked with moves away from the clubs, and especially when I hear Mino Raiola is involved with those discussions, because we've seen it time and time again. We've seen it massively at Everton with Romelu Lukaku, who was massively involved in that move away, and whenever Raiola sits down with his clients and talks about a potential move away, it's almost certain that the player is going to get his head turned for whatever reason or another. And in this case, it seems to be that Raiola or Roma or whoever it may be in Moise Kean's team is trying to use the Euro 2021 and the potential of him returning to Italy in the Serie A in order to boost his opportunity and to boost his chances of being in that Euro 2021 squad. Because to be fair, it's almost certain now that Moise Kean probably wouldn't be in that squad if the Euros was this season, and if the Euros was this summer, and it was after this current Premier League season. I can't see any reason why Italy would look at Moise Kean. Yes, he's good, yes, he's young, and yes, he's got a lot of potential, but he hasn't had a great season so far. He's only scored 1 goal for Everton. He's only had a handful of starts, if that, and he hasn't had a fantastic season. So his chances of getting in the Italian squad for the Euros, if it was this summer, obviously, if everything hadn't have happened in the world, were probably very, very slim. So again, these transfer rumours, they make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense for Moise Kean to want to return to Italy, whether it be on a permanent deal or a loan deal, in order to boost his chances of getting into that Italian squad for the Euros next summer. Obviously, he'll be in the home country. The Italian FA, the Italian manager will be there. They'll be looking at him. However, for me, the opposite of that sort of is, what better way to make a stance on the Italian national team? What better way to really, 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 say to the Italian national setup, I deserve to be in this Euro squad, than to perform under Italy's best manager of all time in Carlo Ancelotti for Everton Football Club. I'm absolutely certain Carlo Ancelotti has got some form of connection with the Italian national squad and the current manager of the Italian national squad, and I'm absolutely certain that if Ancelotti phoned him up and said, listen, Moise Kean has been absolutely smashing it in the Premier League, he's playing brilliantly for Everton, his attitude's fantastic, I'm sure he would be part of that squad either way. But potentially maybe this is where the rumours are coming from, and this is why Moise Kean may potentially look for a move away. So I'm putting this one in possibly straight away. Again, I haven't been as you know, I haven't been as sure about the Moise Kean transfer rumours recently, because a lot of them seem to be coming from a pretty basic standpoint of a journalist, to say, well, here's a player that come in for a lot of money that hasn't really done well, so that's had, you know, maybe little attitude problems here and there, so let's link him with a move away from his current club. It's very, very easy to do that. It's very, very easy to make those sort of transfer rumours up, and people will click them and people will talk about them like we're doing now, so it's very, very easy to spread the word, and ultimately that's what transfer rumours are about, aren't they? Basically, hang on a second. There's a little bit of you know, back and forth going on in the live comments. Let's not have that. I'm not sure if it's a joke, because I haven't had time to read it. But let's not argue between ourselves in the live comments. Let's be as polite as possible, and let's just talk about the transfer rumours that are currently on show and that we're currently talking about. So I'm putting that Moise Kean one straight away, impossibly, because I'm unsure. I think it could potentially happen. I would not be surprised if Mino Raiola was trying to force Moise Kean, but, you know, a move away from the football club and potentially back to Italy. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason was because Kean wanted to be in that Euro 2021 squad with Italy. And again, like we said, you know, the rumours have come up now multiple times over the last sort of 2 weeks or so. So it makes sense. It really, really does make sense. It's coming from a decent journalist in Nico Shearer, a decent source, a source that has been right before in the past. So it is sort of believable. So let me know your thoughts on that Moise Kean rumour in the comment section down below. There's Moise Kean rumours constantly, week in, week out, of course. If you're watching live, let me know your thoughts in the live comments. This one being that Mino Raiola is currently in talks with Roma over potentially them bringing in Moise Kean as he looks for a move potentially back to the Serie A. We're not talking specifically about the Justin Kluivert rumour, which links Kean going to Roma and Kluivert coming back. Kluivert coming to Goodison Park. We're talking about the link solely linking Roma with the move for Moise Kean. So that's that one. Let me know your thoughts on it in the live comments if you're watching live. If you're watching as a YouTube video, let me know your thoughts on it in the YouTube comments. Swiftly moving on, we're going to talk about Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot, who has on Saturday night, I believe it was, from juvefc.com, who I believe are a Juventus sort of fan website or a Juventus news website. Obviously, it's not the official Juventus website, I'm pretty sure, but it's a Juventus news website, basically, that brings transfer news, rumours, etc. I suppose it's a little bit like a fan channel, but just in website form. They rumoured that Everton will battle Manchester United to try and sign Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot this summer. And there's actually been a couple of Manchester United fans that have quoted this rumour and that have spoken on behalf of Manchester United being linked with the midfielder. Now, Everton have been linked with Rabiot a couple of times, especially since Carlo Ancelotti come into the football club. We were linked with him a couple of times in the January transfer window, and I specifically remember there being some form of rumour or some form of discussion where he come out and said that he basically doesn't want to come to Everton Football Club. He's not interested in that move. He either wants to stay at Juventus or he wants to look for a move to a team that are fighting in the Champions League or fighting for their domestic title, which is, you know, understandable, I suppose. But like I said, just bearing that in mind when we're talking about this rumour, I seem to remember that. However, having said that, I am going to again put this one in possibly, because I think Rabiot is a player that Carlo Ancelotti will look at and potentially bringing into Everton Football Club. He is a good midfielder. You know, he's played very, very well for Juventus over the years. He's solid, he's reliable, and again, he's a midfielder that is a step up from the current midfield that we have. He would definitely bring a lot more than our current midfielders, and you know, you never know. Rabiot potentially linking up with Andre Gomez and then potentially bringing in a more of a creative midfielder. That could work well for Everton Football Club, and like I said, a lot of these rumours are very much never say never, considering the fact that we've got Carlo Ancelotti as our manager. However, I wouldn't go as far as to say this one make it happen, because Rabiot didn't seem as you know, excited or didn't seem as up for the Everton move when he was previously linked. And I also wouldn't go with complete rubbish, because it's coming directly from a Juventus website. It's coming directly from you know, a transfer website from the club that Rabiot is currently playing for. And again, it's been rumoured quite heavily over the last sort of couple of months or so that he may be looking for a move out of Juventus, or Juventus may be looking to move him on. And the fact that you've got Manchester United on the other hand, who are talking quite, you know, confidently of the fact that this could potentially be a rumour and they could potentially be interested. It's interesting that Everton are also in that battle. I can't help but feel that Rabiot would probably choose Manchester United over Everton, because, like you said, he didn't really seem keen in January. However, it's quite interesting, and there is a possibility behind Everton making that move for Rabiot. Again, these transfer rumours, when I say possibly, it's ranked not only on the possibility of the player joining the club, but the possibility of this transfer rumour actually having some form of source in it, having some form of truthfulness, I suppose. And like I said, I do think that there's a possible truth in the fact that Everton may look towards somebody like an Adrien Rabiot to bring in, because he's that level above what we've got currently. He's got Champions League experience, he's got experience in winning trophies, and of course, Carlo Ancelotti will be very, very familiar of the player. So I'm putting that one in possibly straight away. We'll do one more and then we'll get into the live comments before we move on to the final couple. In fact, you know what? We'll get into the live comments now. Why not? If you're enjoying the stream so far, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well down below. Really, really do appreciate all the support on the channel recently. The subscribers have gone up quite significantly over the last week or so, so a massive thank you for all of that. If you don't already follow us on Instagram and Twitter, don't forget to do that. The links are down in the description below. Wayne says, yay, under is coming. Happy days, Kean Zadosa. Again, I'm not talking about, I haven't actually written the rumour down, linking under with a move to Everton Football Club. Probably one we'll talk about midweek, maybe on Wednesday. But that is another strong rumour. Wayne also says 10 million, 25% sell on, and under deal done. We'll see, mate. We'll see. Jonathan says Schneiderlin is trash, sell ASAP. We'll talk about Morgan Schneiderlin a little bit later on. He might be a player that we may need to move on. He might be a player that we look to sell. He might be part of that dead wood category for a lot of fans. But personally, for me, I've got a little bit of a different opinion on Morgan Schneiderlin, which we'll talk about in just a second. William says, hey everyone, hey William, how you doing? Jonathan says, Cam, I'll DM you a screenshot of a reliable Everton page saying Everton are keeping Kean. I do think that Everton will keep Kean, if I'm perfectly honest with you, mate. I think that it's more likely that Everton will sell Kean. It's more likely that Everton will keep Kean than will sell him. And a lot of my sort of opinion on that is based on the fact that we signed Moise Kean for around 28-30 odd million pounds last summer. Now, granted, we haven't paid that full price yet, but we will pay that full price at some point in the future. And I think if Everton were to sell Kean, would want 35, maybe even 40 million upwards for him, and I really don't see any team at the moment paying that much money or being able to afford that much money. Certainly not Roma. So again, that's a big part of the reasons to why I think Moise Kean personally will stay at Everton Football Club. Again, like I said, when we're talking about these rumours, we're talking about the possibility of there actually being some truthfulness in the rumour, and I do think there's a little bit of truthfulness in the rumour that Mino Raiola may be looking to move Moise Kean to a different club or back to Italy in order to enhance his chances of potentially getting in the Italy squad for the upcoming Euros next summer. However, again, that's part of the reason as to why I think Everton will keep him, because I simply don't think anybody will be able to afford the amount that we'd want for him. And as well as that, I think Carlo Ancelotti thinks very, very highly of Moise Kean, and I think a lot of people at Everton Football Club think very, very highly of Moise Kean. And as long as he can get his head down, he can learn from his mistakes, he can stop being an idiot in public, and he can just mature a little bit, I think we've got a very, very good, talented young player on our hands with a lot of potential, and somebody that we could definitely use going forward. And plus, if we sell Moise Kean, then ultimately we're going to have to bring another striker in, because that leaves us with just Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. And if either one of those gets injured at any point throughout the Premier League season, and we're playing a formation of 4-4-2, then who comes in? So if ultimately we sell Moise Kean or we let Moise Kean go out on loan, that not only creates the problem of that we've sold a player with a lot of potential and a big future at Everton, but also creates a problem that we need to then replace him. We haven't got unlimited amounts of strikers, and we haven't got a lot of quality in that position either, other than the two that are currently sort of playing week in, week out. So that's a big reason as to why I think Everton will keep Moise Kean. It's just definitely obviously worth talking about the rumour. Raymond says, Cam, you absolute melon, I am. Eugene says, sends us under update and latest Blues transfer news. We won't be giving an update on under, but we will be giving an update on the latest Blues transfer news. Big thanks for watching. If you're enjoying, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Thank you very much. Raymond says, I'm not a massive fan of under. I think he is very hit and miss. Fair enough. Eugene says, happy birthday, Andy Rakine, or Rakine. Carl says, hello, mate. Would you be foolish? We would be foolish to buy under. Wayne says, Clive is a left winger. There you go. Wayne says, under is boss. Will be a hit at Everton. Prefer Suarez or Neres, though. I do like the look of David Neres, and must admit, Everton Suarez, or Suarez, I'm a little bit, I'm unsure about because of the league he currently plays in, but I do really, really like David Neres. Cal says, hey Cam, I'm using the Everton Legend team on FIFA. It's really good. Dixie Dean scored 5 and 2. There you go, exactly like he would back in the day. Wayne says, boss. Wayne says, I agree, Cal, we would be foolish to let Moise Kean go and get under. And I'm not going to go into the argument. Wayne says, oh, apologise. Wayne says, both Neres and Everton are left wingers. And Jonathan says, I'd take under because he's only 22 and got loads of time to develop. He has got loads of time to develop. He's still a young player. And I think, you know, he could have a big future ahead of him. But, you know, we'd have to wait and see. We've got loads and loads of comments on today's live team. So a big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Bear with me. Let me just get refreshed so everything is up to date. Anyway, on to the next transfer rumour. Rambled a little bit there, sorry about that. On to the next transfer rumour. This is coming from the Football Insider, and it is linking World Cup winner, former Bayern Munich midfielder, current Borussia Dortmund midfielder Mario Götze with a move to Everton, and it is simply stating from the Football Insider that Everton and West Ham are both interested in Borussia Dortmund midfielder Mario Götze. Now I'm going to go and put this one quickly and swiftly straight away in complete rubbish. If this was 4 or 5 years ago, I would have absolutely loved Mario Götze at Everton. He was a fantastic midfielder back in his day. Obviously, he scored that World Cup winning goal in the final against Argentina in 2014. He was very technical. He's very good. He was the type of creative midfielder that we could have massively done with 4 or 5 years ago, and that we could actually do with now. However, his age has a massive part to play in it. He's on a downward spiral in his career. He would probably cost a fair bit of money, and his wages would be quite demanding as well. And for a player that we would almost certainly lose money on, because we would bring him in for what I would only assume would be 25, 30, maybe even 35 million pounds on a contract of probably 150 plus grand a week at the age that he is, with the current injury issues that he has. I can't help but feel like, okay, at the moment he might be able to do a job for Everton in the short term, but I don't think we'd get more than a year and a half, maybe 2 years max, good years out of Mario Götze before we'd then be looking at selling him on, or we'd be looking at another sort of player that back in the day was half decent that we're stuck with at the moment because they're coming towards the tail end of the career. So I'm putting this one in complete rubbish straight away. Again, not only because of that, and because I don't think Carlo Ancelotti would be interested in a player, or Marcel Brands be interested in a player who was at that stage of their career and would demand that much money, but also because it's simply, you know, there's nothing really much in the rumour other than Football Insider saying Everton and West Ham are both interested in Dortmund midfielder Mario Götze. And historically, in these type of rumours where Everton and West Ham have been linked with players, the player usually ends up going to West Ham and ultimately doesn't have the greatest of time there. We've seen it with numerous players throughout the past, Sam Byron being one of them. A little bit different because he was a little bit younger, but again, I just really don't see anything in the Mario Götze rumours whatsoever. I think it's a little bit of a stab in the dark. I think, again, it's linking a player that has had 2 spells at Borussia Dortmund, a decent spell at Bayern Munich, had a decent World Cup obviously in 2014, coming towards the tail end of his career. Maybe a player that's looking for one more payday, and maybe his agent that's trying to sort of push the rumours to potentially bring him to the Premier League for that last payday at a club like Everton, who you know, could probably do with a creative midfielder of his quality, but you know, his age, his stamina, his injury record, let's be perfectly honest, we're probably not going to get more than 5 or 10 games out of Mario Götze in a Premier League season, and for the money that would have to pay for him and pay him weekly, I just don't think Everton would go for that transfer whatsoever. I think there's much better value for money out there, and I think there's a lot younger players that Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands will have their eye on to come in instead of Mario Götze. So I'm putting that one in complete rubbish straight away, because I just don't think Everton would be interested in that transfer. And I just think Mario Götze would want an awful lot of money to make that transfer happen. So there you go. That's going in complete rubbish. Let me know your thoughts on that in the live comments and in the comment section down below. What do you think about the rumours linking Borussia Dortmund midfielder and, of course, World Cup winner with Germany, Mario Götze, to a move to Everton Football Club? On to the penultimate rumour of the day then. This one is coming from Fanatic. And they have rumoured that Carlo Ancelotti is a big fan of Tab Zonspar goalkeeper Iguken Kakia. I've absolutely butchered that. Kakia, and it is believed that he favours a move to the Premier League despite interest from Seville, Benfica and others. So again, this one really interesting, really caught my eye because it is linking a goalkeeper with a move to Everton Football Club. Now it's really interesting to read the rumours that link goalkeepers with move to Everton, because it ultimately it perks me ears up and it makes me think, right, what would happen with Jordan Pickford if Everton were to sign another goalkeeper? Now again, I'm putting this one straight away in complete rubbish as well, because I personally think that Carlo Ancelotti is quite a big fan of Jordan Pickford. I think Carlo Ancelotti sees a lot of potential in Jordan Pickford, and I think he sees him as a player that could have a bright future going forward as long as he learns from his mistakes and gets his head down and works hard. Now, having said that, again, there's not an awful lot in the rumour linking the player with a move to Everton. We've seen a lot of rumours over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks or so that don't directly link players with move to Everton, but almost link players with move to Everton via the fact that Carlo Ancelotti is a fan of said player, or Carlo Ancelotti, likes the look of the player or has managed them before, and that sort of ultimately forms the link between the player and Everton Football Club, which again, ultimately, is not as strong as a rumour. For example, like the Moise Kean rumour, which is directly linking an Everton player with a move to a certain club, or like the Gabriel rumour, which is directly linking Gabriel to a move to Everton. This is almost linking, Kean to a move to Everton through the fact that Carlo Ancelotti is a fan of the goalkeeper. Now, I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti is a fan of a lot of players, to be perfectly honest with you. He's been in football for a long time. Pardon me, he's managed a lot of footballers, he's managed a lot of top quality players, so I'm sure there's a lot of players in the world that Carlo Ancelotti is a fan of, and Kean may be one of them. Whether Everton would make a move for him and spend the money on him whilst having a goalkeeper in Jordan Pickford, I just really don't think we would, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Everton are more likely gonna keep with Jordan Pickford, see how he does for not only the remainder of this season whenever football does come back, but then onto the next season, and then ultimately make a decision after that. And I think if we were to bring somebody like a Kean in, it would mean that Jordan Pickford's time at Everton would probably be coming to an end, and I just don't think that is going to happen anytime soon. So for that one, I'm putting that one in complete rubbish. That is the transfer rumour from Fnatic linking Trabzonspor goalkeeper Ergukan, I probably butchered that, Kean, with a move to Everton Football Club, and the fact that the player may potentially favour a move to the Premier League ahead of any other league. And I'm sure he does favour a move to the Premier League, but that doesn't mean that Everton Football Club are interested in him. Anyway, please do leave a like if you're enjoying this team so far. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. We do the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show every single Monday. We also live stream on a Wednesday and a Friday as well, so don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date. Getting back into the live comments now. William says at least Under is a right winger, loses possession all the time though, and Wade says that's the problem with signing Suarez, his name confuses shit. Ian says, I listen to any transfer rumours when Carlo says so, and so is a possibility. There you go, fair enough. But it's interesting to talk about them, I think. Whammy says, we could do better, I think, than Under. Jonathan says, like who? Whammy says, hit the like, guys, support the channel. Thank you very much, really do appreciate that. Whammy says, before Lozano moved, probably better. I think Lozano would probably still be up for a move to Everton, if I'm being honest with you, but Jonathan is right, he is slightly risky. Cal says, promises 27 and flopped in Spain, and Lozano was awfully has 2 goals in 20 plus games. Fair enough. David says, Rabiot has only been at Juve for the season. He's a poor attitude, allegedly he's on 220 grand a week. He did, he come from PSG, I remember, and I do remember him being linked with us quite heavily in January. And he had quite a stern response, and he really wasn't interested in moving to Everton Football Club. In fact, I think he come out and said, he really doesn't want to move, and I can't see much have changed in the last sort of 6 months or so. And if he's only been at Juve for a year and they're already trying to get rid of him, not only does it state that he's on a lot of money and maybe not potentially providing the goods, but it also states that, he probably might have a little bit of an attitude issue. But I do think he's a good player, and I do think he's a player that Everton could benefit by having in terms of his ability and his quality, but I'm just not too sure. There's an awful lot in the rumour. Darren says, bit of a long shot, but do you reckon we could go back in for Zaha if the price was right? The price would have to be under 30 million, maybe even under 25 million for me. Anything over that, and I really don't think we'd be interested in him. He hasn't had a great season either. Jonathan says, Rabiot is similar to Schneiderlin, lazy, and Zaha is awful. William says, still arguably better than Under. Jonathan says he isn't. William says, and possibly we could sign, let's get Sancho and Pulisic, Mahrez still, and Adama Traore, I imagine. Jonathan Moise would be perfect for us, he would, but again, I don't think he'd come. Dodgepick says, hey, Wormy. Eugene says, Everton star Bernard makes admission of a potential Brazil return in the Liverpool Echo. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to have a look at that one. Maybe we'll discuss that on next week's Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. Wayne says, sell Kean first. Which Kean are we talking about, Michael or Moise? Cal says, we should go for John McGinn from Villa and Todd Cantwell from Norwich. Both young and both teams look like they're going down, so we could get them cheap. They are both very, very good young players. However, I still think even if both teams go down, they'd want quite a fair bit for those two players because, you know, they are young and they've got a lot of potential and there'll be a lot of Premier League sides interested in them. And then says, I feel like Everton have become the new team for for agents to link their clients with for higher prices and moves. Happens to United all the time to try and get bigger contacts for the players. You're spot on, mate. For the clients, said players then. For the clients, you're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. A lot of these rumours are agents making them up in order to get bigger contact for their players, and that's simple, and that seems exactly what me and Araiola's trying to do in Moise Kean's situation, is maybe make the rumour up so Everton potentially give him a bigger contract or guarantee him more game time, because that does happen in football, or maybe in order to make him, to force a move away in order for me and Araiola to get a bigger agent fee. Who knows? Wormy says, I like Todd Cantwell, probably pick him up at a decent price. If we could, I'd take him. Jonathan says, I like Bundier, me too. Wormy says, I'm good, Dos, thanks. Cal says, it's like if we got Garner. If Villa stayed up, Garner would have cost 20 to 35 million, but because they went down, he cost 7.5 million, and what a deal that was. What an absolute deal that was. If Garner Gay was potentially up for sale, I'd give them 60, 70 million to bring him back. I really, really would, but I don't think he'd be up for sale. Wayne says, I think we're going to shift out 20 players, including the youth setup. Need to be brutal, can't be sentimental. I feel like that's a little bit too many. However, who knows? We do need to shift a lot of players. Faz says, Roma's skint. They can't afford smaller. Never mind Kean. They will try and offer Josh's make weight. We've got plenty of that. They haven't got the money to spend 35 million on Kean. That is for sure. William says Gator was great, but past it, I agree. That's because no, not Gator, never ever will be a terrible sign, and he is past it. David says, we don't Wayne, too many clubs with no money, so probably another 5 out, along with the 5 out of contract. Jonathan says Gator's only 27, he is, but he's had a lot of injury trouble in the past. Gord says Gator had a terrible last few seasons. He hasn't had a great last few seasons. Abigail says he's on a free, but he's shit now. But his contract wouldn't be on a free, would it? It would be, massive, massive wages. A little bit like Bernard's. But would we get as much out of Gator as we do out of Bernard? I don't know. And we don't get an awful lot out of Bernard now, if we're being completely honest. That's because Gator's out of contract, but still wouldn't bring us forward. Fair enough. Jonathan says Schneiderlin, Sigurdsson out. Sangare and Jonathan David in. Williams says should sign that side off Watford. Potentially. He is a good player, and Abigail says it's his agent pendling a player who has no takers. Maybe. Anyway, let's go on to the final transfer rumour, or not even transfer rumour, but the final sort of bit of information of the day. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. 44 people currently watching live, so a big thanks to everybody for watching. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, only takes a second. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well, links are down in the description below. We live stream 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so a big thanks for all of the support. But anyway, this rumour, or this bit of information rather, is coming from the Football Insider, and it is linking, well, it's not linking, it's basically stating that Everton could let Morgan Schneiderlin go for as little as £5 million. Now, I know that this is going to split opinion, and I know there'll be a lot of fans currently shouting at the screen saying, sell him, he is part of the Deadwood, let him go. But I want to ask everybody this question, and I'm asking myself this question. Over the last 6 months, certainly after Carlo Ancelotti has come into the football club, has Morgan Schneiderlin performed better than Fabian Delph? In my opinion, yes. Has Morgan Schneiderlin performed better than Gylfi Sigurdsson? In my opinion, yes. Has Morgan Schneiderlin performed better than Tom Davies? In my opinion, yes. And I'm not saying that we should keep Morgan Schneiderlin on the sole basis that he's performed better than the rest of our midfield, because the rest of our midfield has been a shambles at the best of times. But what I'm saying is, for as little as £5 million, I would be more open to keeping Morgan Schneiderlin and maybe trying to shift some of the other players who very clearly aren't as good technically. Now, Schneiderlin mightn't be fantastic technically. He mightn't have a lot to his game. And his attitude mightn't be all, that great at the best of times. However, from his recent performances, now maybe those performances are driven by the fact that he's trying to put himself in the shot window. Maybe those performances are driven by the fact that he may be looking for a move away from the football club. But I'm putting this rumour or this bit of information in complete rubbish, because personally, I wouldn't sell Morgan Schneiderlin for £5 million. I think that's a lot of. I think that's a very, very weak amount. and I really don't think he's as bad as maybe a lot of people think, and he's certainly not as bad as a $5 million price tag would suggest. I'd rather get rid of a lot of other players in the squad that I think have got absolutely no use to Everton Football Club going forward, rather than a midfielder that, okay, mightn't be in the long-term plans and mightn't have been fantastic over the last 18 months, but certainly hasn't been as bad as some others. And I think 5 million is incredibly low, criminally low, some would say, in this day and age. And again, I'd probably sell him this summer. I would. He'd probably be part of the list of players that I would move on in order to make transfer budget, in order to make room for new coming signings. But for me, he wouldn't be at the top of the outgoings list, and it certainly wouldn't be for £5 million. So I'm putting that one in complete rubbish. Let me know your thoughts on that one in the live comments and in the comment section down below. Let's get into the live comments anyway before we end the stream. Dosbick says, Gator is slow as fuck with a half-decent finishing and will be our next ticketing. Nobody wants that. Nobody does want that, you're right. Whammy says, Dukin, uppercut. Abasarakendrakum says hello. I'm just going to call you Abba. He says hello. Wayne says, heard we're back in front for Gabriel. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Dosbick says Tadibo will be a brilliant signing. Great physique, great potential. Will be a great Marcel Brand signing. He really, really will be. We spoke about him in the last talking about transfer show. I really, really like the look of Tadibo. Really, really like the look of Gabriel, to be honest with you as well. I'd take either, if not both. Abby says, I'm a Guangzhou Evergrande fan. There you go. Fantastic. Thanks for joining. He also says Everton should buy Talisca. He has lit the CSL up. I think he's a good player. And he says, have you ever watched the CSL? I haven't watched the league, but I've seen bits of Talisca, and I think he is a good player. Sarah says, Carlo will be building from the back, so I wouldn't be surprised if a keeper was on the cards if he could demand 50 million plus for Pickford. Moise Kean doesn't seem to have settled loan spell. Potentially a loan spell, but would that mean we'd then need to bring a striker in to fill that period that Moise Kean is on loan? I don't know. And maybe you're right about Jordan Pickford. Carlo may look to move him on. I'm just basing off what Carlo Ancelotti has said previously, and that is he seems to be quite happy with Jordan Pickford from what he has said. And Pickford doesn't seem to be a player that's on his list to get rid of immediately anyway. Ananda says, I know you've said that in the past you don't watch other football teams or leagues, but you'll be watching the Bundesliga to get your football fix. I will be, mate. I'll be watching Schalke, although I think they've sort of weirdly teamed up with Newcastle according to their Twitter, which is a little bit strange, but I will be watching Schalke in order to basically watch John Joe Kenny and Tadibo. Wayne says, hey Hernandez, Gord says, did you watch the K-League this past weekend? That didn't, mate, unfortunately. Wayne says, I'd sell Schneiderlin for 5p. Wayne says, Jess, we know you're there, how you doing? Paul Kate Melbourne says, Dzeko was part of the Kean deal. I just think Edin Dzeko was past it, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know what he'd be able to bring Everton. Listen, he's a Premier League experienced striker, and he was very, very good in his day, but I just don't know what he'd be able to bring Everton at the moment. Eugene says, Goodison looking beautiful back in the day. Goodison will be looking beautiful constantly, mate. David says, hit the like, guys. Keep Cam out of a YouTube recession. If you could hit the like button, it'd mean a massive, massive amount to me. Big thanks for watching. 42 people currently watching. Get your thoughts in the live comments before we end up the stream. Jess says, hi Ramy, sorry I'm in work and not bad, thank you, how are you? Wimmy says, I'm good. Carl says, Morgan has been good since Carlo came in. I actually agree, I do. Joel says, I'd like Adama Traore, but I don't think Wolves would let him go. I would as well. Ian says, totally agree with you, Camry Schneiderlin. There you go. Big thanks, Ian. Wimmy says, I think Schneiderlin is just one-dimensional. He is good at doing what he does, which is sitting back, not offering much. He's doing a job. Can't be angry at a hammer for being a hammer. Well, there you go. And again, I'd rather have a player that is very limited in their ability but good at doing what they do than a player that's very limited in their ability and not very good at doing what they're supposed to be doing, a little bit like we've got with, I don't know, a Gylfi Sigurdsson or a Fabian Delph. So that's why I'd probably put Morgan Schneiderlin ahead of those two players. Maybe not Sigurdsson because he's got more natural ability, but definitely than Delph at the moment, I'd say. Sarah says, club can't afford to buy another player in semi-retirement on massive wages, so would avoid anyone over 28 at the moment. Honestly, experience is vital, but our mature players have been disasters. Very, very fair point, and I actually do agree with you. We can't afford to be giving players that are, coming towards the end of their careers massive, massive contracts because we simply can't afford it. But it's that fine line between those type of players and the experienced quality players that we do need to bring in. It is a very fine line, and I suppose that's Marcel Brand's his job to look out for. Roma says, but in the end, he's going to set the world on fire. We need higher quality players. We do. Dave says more like a banana spoons. Cal says, I agree. Talisca is a good player. Too good for the CSL. Is good enough for the Prem. But when for his money his attitude is awful. Wayne says, have a good week, Cam. Let's hope they finally see the sense and terminate this season. Well, again, if you want to hear my thoughts on the potential of retaining the Premier League and the fact that it won't return before the 1st of June at least, then there is a video that I uploaded a little bit earlier on the channel, but 8-minute video where I just discuss it. So after this live stream, we'll be finishing up in a minute. Go over and check that one out. I would really do appreciate that. And Cal says the problem is Gomez ain't a CDM, he's a CM. Not like Kozzola or Arteta, very technical. He should get a CDM like Nakamba, who can't attack, but you know he will tackle a lot like Garner. We shouldn't let Garner go effectively, but there you go. Paul says Foster is backup keeper. Pickford's out of contact. Pickford out of contact at Watford. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Foster. I don't really. Again, I hate him playing against us because usually time waste, but he's a good experienced keeper, and I wouldn't mind him as a backup. Eugene says, will you keep and sell for Everton? There's a list, mate. Maybe I can do that as a potential video on Wednesday. Who would I keep and sell? Cal says, would you take Matic for the year? He's been really good for Man United and his contract runs out. I don't know. I think he'd be on massive wages, and I think he'd just be another player towards the end of his career that would lose money on, so I probably wouldn't. David says, always nice to chat with fellow Tonians. See you on Wednesday, guys. Keep smiling. Thank you very much. You can just see about the toffees, and Wormy says, stay safe. Take care, guys. Thank you very much. That is going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Only takes a second. Don't forget, we'll be back on Wednesday, 5:15 with another live stream. We live stream every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so don't forget to join us 5:15 on Friday, on Wednesday, sorry, and Friday as well, but Wednesday is the next stream. Big thanks to everybody for watching in the live comments. Really do appreciate all of the support as per usual. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and I'll try and get them over as many of them as possible. Don't forget to follow our Instagram and Twitter, links are down in the description below. If you're interested in Call of Duty or other video games, then I uploaded a personal channel video. My personal channel is Cameron D. Hay on YouTube. You can check out the latest video. We talk about Call of Duty and specifically the Warzone mode and why I think it's boss, basically. So if you're interested in that, you can go and check that one out. But until then, join us on Wednesday, 5:15 for another live stream talking all about Everton once again. Cal says Garner left in the best way he did. He certainly did. I absolutely love Garner. And he also says, see you, Cam and Jess. Have a good day. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And Jess says, see you, Cal. Stay safe. Stay safe, everybody, indeed. Stay safe. Stay home. Look after yourselves. And basically, let's get over this horrible situation as quickly as possible. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you on Wednesday at 5:15. Massive thanks for watching. And I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.